Hello everybody, welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. So today we are talking about another story in Ray Bradbury's Dark Carnival, an excellent collection of short stories, obviously very early stories from Ray Bradbury. These stories are a lot scarier than later Ray Bradbury stories. Very good book and definitely worth picking up. So today we're going to talk about the story Reunion. So this story was not republished in the October country, and as far as I can tell, it hasn't been republished anywhere. It's a good story. It's clearly very well written. It's Ray Bradbury. It was first published in March of 1944 in Weird Tales magazine. But I can't decide about the subject matter. It's such a strange little story. It's the story of a boy who has lost his entire family, his brother and his mother and father, and his aunt and uncle have moved into the house that he grew up in, and how he's kind of dealing with that trauma. I'll get into some spoilers in just a little bit. But I feel like there's two ways to take this story. You can either take it very seriously, or it kind of comes off as irresponsible or childish. I'm not sure. I believe that that's probably the reason that it's been left out so often. All right, so I'm going to go into spoilers now. Of course, if you're reading along, make sure to give it a read, see what you think of it, and let me know down in the comments what you think. It's just such a strange little story. It's definitely worth talking about at least a little bit. So the whole thing is built around Laundry Day. Monday is Laundry Day. And of course, Ray Bradbury goes into great detail about the washing machine and all the clothes floating around and how they look like they're drowning. This story is very dark and very morbid. And the kid likes to hide up in the attic, even though his aunt keeps yelling for him to come down and help. But he likes the attic for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't think she really knows that it exists, I guess. She doesn't think about it often. She never goes up there. So it's a good hiding spot. And number two, all of his dead family members' possessions are up in the attic. So he can surround himself with all of these objects. And he decides, as a young child maybe would, that he just wants to be up here forever. That he wants to wither away and die and become part of the objects that are up in this attic with his family members' objects so that he can be with his family forever. So he just hides up in the attic and he can hear his aunt yelling and calling day after day while he's slowly withering away up there in the attic. And he's up there for about 4 days before she finds him. And near the end, he actually starts seeing his family, and he's spending time with his family, and they're all hugging him and kissing him. And of course, it could just be hallucination from lack of water, right? Over a 4-day period. He hasn't eaten, he hasn't drank any water. I mean, he's clearly losing his mind. Or it could literally be that as he's dying and wasting away, his family shows up and they're so happy to see him and they love him. But then, of course, the aunt bursts into the attic on the 4th day and grabs him and drags him down the stairs and grabs all of this stuff that was collected from his old family. He's screaming, of course, "Mom, Dad, don't leave," things like that. And she burns all the stuff except for the clothes, which she throws in the washer. Now, one interesting thing about this story is Ray Bradbury talks about how the clothing has the sweat and the old broken off fingernails and old skin cells that have fallen off the body. All of that is inside those clothes. So that's what gives him the idea that his parents are still there. And for a moment, I was thinking this is very interesting because it's kind of got DNA stuff going on and cloning and that kind of thing. Of course, this story has nothing to do with any of that. He's not talking about cloning. But I found it very interesting that the things that Ray Bradbury was saying made those people still be there in the attic are kind of true, right? Strands of hair and things like that could be used in the future to clone a human, which is an interesting, weird truth now. But she throws all the clothes in the washing machine, so all of that stuff is torn away and destroyed and killed. So the boy is just left there sobbing in the end, and the evil aunt and uncle are just destroying everything from the past. It is a very strange story. And I don't want to say that things like that could never happen in real life. Of course, people dealing with grief could harm themselves. Of course they could. And of course, there are totally uncaring people in the world that would treat somebody this badly, that would after finding them after 4 days of them being gone, not in any way try to figure out why this happened, how to prevent this from happening in the future, and how to try to make this person happy, But it also had this weird feel like, I know you guys have seen the film Christmas Story. I think that's what it's called. There's a part where the young child, I think his name is Ralph, he says a swear word. So his mom washes his mouth out with soap. She makes him put a soap bar in his mouth and just hold it there. And he has this fantasy that there's a poison in the soap that would make him go blind. So he's there blind, and the doctor's explaining that there was a poison in the soap and that it's the parents' fault that he's now blind because they chose to wash his mouth out with soap. And it's very silly and very dead on for young children, right? Kids might fantasize about people feeling sorry for them because of the way they were punished when they were kids. And I didn't really know how to take this story. On one hand, it feels really kind of irresponsible. It's weird that his plan is working. Like there's nothing in the story about him being dehydrated, about him hallucinating, anything like that. Like his parents and his brother just show up. And they are very happy to see him. They're all hugging him and crying together. It works. His plan is working. And I don't know if that's the kind of thing that Ray Bradbury wants to be putting out there, And that's probably one of the reasons this story wasn't republished. And on the other hand, based on the way his aunt and uncle react to finding him, I wonder if he was really even up there that long, if this was just, if to him it felt like 4 days, but it was only actually 3 hours or something. I don't know. It's a strange little story. It's very, very well written. Absolutely worth a read. Of course, it's Ray Bradbury. But I would like to know what you guys think about it. Let me know in the comments, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, and have a great day.